1.
Okay. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. Very important. Luke 10:27. Okay. We've been talking about, this is more about the promise and the law. Okay. So we've left sin behind. Thank goodness. That went on for like 12 weeks, I think, that we we kept talking about sin. And now we've moved on to after sin and how bad that is and how trapped it keeps us. Now we're getting into God's promise, right? So let's review just a little bit. What promise did God make to Noah? Do we remember going through Noah's?
I know.
Mercy.
He sent a rainbow.
He sent a rainbow. And what did that rainbow mean?
That he would never send a flood to flood the whole world again.
Correct. He would never, that doesn't mean we won't have floods on the earth, because we have a lot of flooding still, but he would never wipe out the earth with a flood again. He would never destroy all of his creation with a flood. All right, what was the sign of his promise? You already answered that one. You said it was Asher. Rainbow. God said, I will put my bow in the sky as a reminder. So it's supposed to remind us. All right, then, what promise did God make to Abraham? Did you guys talk about Abraham? Nico.
God made the promise to Abraham that his descendants would become as numerous as the stars,
right,
and he would become the father of a great nation.
Right. And at that time, did Abraham, how many kids did he have?
300.
0 at that time when God made his promise. And how old was he?
98.
Yeah, he was wicked old. Wicked old is the correct answer. I think he was 75 when God first called him out, and then the longer Abraham walked with God, the more God would make the promise clear. But he did not have his son of promise, Isaac, until he was
98.
100 years old.
100.
I don't know why you keep yelling out at 98. 98 was how old my grandpa was when he died. Not Abraham. When he had a kid. All right, here's our new one. We're moving on. We are talking, this is some of my favorite stories. And then I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to read my favorite book to you.
The Bible.
That's not the Bible. That's not my favorite book. That's not the Bible. All right. Anyway, who wants one?
Me.
Why do you need one? You can't read.
Why do you need to make extra comments?
I can read. You can't read.
Mercy can read.
Threatened to destroy his family, Israel, that his name used to be Jacob, now his name's Israel. He had 12 sons. Israel moved his family, down to Egypt, where God blessed them with many children. And that's really where all those descendants that God had promised Abraham, that's where they grew, was in Egypt. Yes?
Are you talking about my friend? Yes. His name is Israel.
I'm not talking about any friends of yours ever going forward from this point, just to clear up any misconfusions. Okay. After a few hundred years, there were thousands of Israel's descendants living in Egypt. Hundreds of thousands of them. The Egyptians, worried that they might take over their country, forced the Israelites, or the Hebrews, to become their slaves. The Egyptians did not want them taking over, and there were so many of them that they were like, we better make them slaves to work for us, or they're going to end up running Egypt. So God, who always keeps his promises, had not forgotten about his people or the promise that he made them. He heard their cry for help, and he sent Moses to deliver them from slavery and to lead them out of Egypt. Now, how he did that was this. God sent 10 plagues. What's a plague?
A problem?
It's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's a
Virus.
It can be a sickness. It can be a virus.
a disease.
It could be a disease. It can be natural disasters. We're going to read all about them. God sent 10 plagues to force Pharaoh, Egypt's king, to let the Israelites leave Egypt. The last plague was the worst. God killed all the firstborn sons of Egypt, but he spared the Hebrews by telling them to paint the doorposts of their home with the blood of a perfect lamb. What does that sound like? Does that remind us of anything else?
Shedding his blood for us?
It reminds us, it points, now this is way before Jesus came to earth. Don't put your hands in your mouth. But this is a picture that shows us of what was going to happen, that Jesus was going to be that perfect lamb who was going to die and make a way for us to come straight to God. So that's what they did. They would kill a perfect lamb which sounds cruel to us. That's hard to wrap our heads around because this is not something we do in our culture now. But they would paint the doorposts on the sides here and on the front, which isn't that interesting that it's the two sides and the top.
And
So
the
if you drew a
bottom.
line down and you drew a line across,
It's a cross.
even that would make a cross. Isn't that interesting? Right?
And
I like visuals. Where am I? When the angel of death saw the blood, he passed over them. So none of the Israelites were killed.
Did they put it on the outside or the inside?
It just says on the doorpost. So I think it's on the outside of the doorpost. So like, just like I showed you, like right there, like there's a doorway that's made and I was like on the outside.
Yeah, it is.
The
on
two sides and on the
outside. I saw the
After that, every year, the people of Israel remembered how God delivered them from death through the blood of a lamb, and they celebrated a meal called the Passover. So they do this once a year. We do communion on the fourth week or the last Sunday of every month. We have communion to remember, to remind ourselves that Jesus died, that he shed his blood for us. That's what we do when we take communion, right? We just talked about that. One day, God would send a different kind of lamb. Oh, we already jumped ahead. The Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world to deliver his people from eternal death. And who is that? Jesus.
God.
God led his people in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Although Pharaoh at first allowed Israel to leave Egypt, he changed his mind and he chased them and he trapped them at the Red Sea. But God opened up the Red Sea and he let the Israelites walk to safety, holding back the Egyptians with a great pillar of cloud. So like it got all like foggy and they couldn't see where they were going because the cloud like God lived among his people during their journey to the promised land of Canaan. When they were hungry, God fed them manna. When they were thirsty, he gave them water. But even though the Israelites were free from slavery to the Egyptians, they were still slaves to sin. They still wanted to go their own way. They complained about everything. Every single thing they complained about. Do you ever have a day like that where you complain about every single thing? They did not want to listen to Moses, the leader that God gave them. Wanting his people to know how to love him and how to love others, God gave them laws. God's laws showed Israel how to love God and how to love people. And he pointed out where they were going in the wrong direction. So next week we'll cover the laws,
I have a
which I think is
question.
actually really fun. Yeah.
Why is there 10 plagues and there's 10 commandments?
It's interesting, isn't it? There's 10 of a lot of things in the Bible.
There's not 10 commandments. There's a lot of commandments.
No, there's
specific.
There are 10 commandments
From
that are given to Moses on the stone tablets.
But there's a bunch more.
But there's a bunch of laws
Yeah.
that still came, like 500 and something laws, and then they added a bunch to them. But all of the laws that were made fall under the 10 commandments. So if you, it's like the 10 commandments were headings almost. And if you would just obey the heading, you didn't have to worry about the rest of the laws because all of those things rolled up under the 10 commandments. And then the 10 commandments roll up under 2 laws. You know what they are? All the 10 commandments roll up under 2
love your neighbor
laws.
and love God.
Right? And what's our Bible verse? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. So, all the 10 commandments come down to 2 things: loving God, loving people. So, if we can focus on loving God, that's the first 5 commandments, first 4. And then the last 6 are really about loving people.
Are we actually going to do coloring? Because I'm really mad.
Are you actually going to what?
I do coloring.
Coloring. I have my favorite book to read to you. You're going to love my book. Are you ready for my book, Mercy? You get to yell. Oh,
Wait,
wow.
wait.
We're doomed.
That's
I
a
want a
very bad
mechanical
idea.
pencil. They're right
Is it
there.
going to help you listen?
Mechanical pencils? Can I have all of them?
I love mechanical pencils. I'll just
I
take
like
one.
poured all these
I
pencils
want
in
all.
here for absolutely no reason.
Thank you for putting them in there. I like drawing.
I'll take all of them.
Can I have the pink one? I'll take the pink one. Can I have the teal one?
Like, I used to have a bin, but then my brother stole all of them.
I'll take all the ones that are left. I'll take all the ones that are left.
I'll take another one. Too.
I'll take another one.
I'll give that one to me.
I'll take all the ones that are left.
Just
Am
one.
I allowed to color?
All the ones that are left.
Yeah, I want all the ones that are left.
One. You can have one.
You get one?
I don't have one.
You didn't give him one.
I want all the ones that are left.
Getting one that matches a shirt. No, just one. Okay, are you ready?
Draw the cross
No.
eyes. Like,
I like.
I like rhyming books. I don't know why rhyming books.
Yes!
that book.
Yes. All right. It says, a burning bush, and it began. This is how God came and talked to me. As God told Moses, here's my plan. But Moses was a simple man, and he said, I just don't think I can. And then we can all say this together. Poor Moses. God wouldn't hear the answer no. He said, with Aaron you will go to lead my people from Pharaoh. Tell him that your God said so. So Moses spoke to mean Pharaoh. Our God says, let my people go. And Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A big mistake. He didn't know that God would deal a mighty blow. All right, here we go with our plagues. A plague, a plague, a plague. Egyptians to the Pharaoh said, their God has turned our water red. No more fish, they all are dead. Where some water we can drink? We cannot stand this bloody stink. P.U. Then God spoke to mean Pharaoh. Our God says, let my people go. And Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague. Frogs were Pharaoh's next nightmare. That's number 2. He cried, they're hopping everywhere. Tell God to send the frogs away. Then you can go without delay. They're in my oven, in my bed. I think a frog jumped on my head. Ew. So Moses prayed, and the frogs were dead. Then Moses spoke to mean Pharaoh. Our God says, let my people go. And Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague. Number 3. The Egyptians cried, oh no, now gnats, covering cows and dogs and cats, covering us from head to toe. Please, Pharaoh, let these people go. Then Moses spoke to mean Pharaoh. Our God says, let my people go. And Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague. Are we on 4? God spread the ground with nasty flies, but Pharaoh answered only lies. I'll let your people leave this place. Just get these flies out of my face. When Moses said, it's done, we'll go, Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague. Number 5. Soon animals began to die. Egyptians pleaded, hear our cry. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, why? But Pharaoh still would not comply. Then Moses spoke to mean Pharaoh. Our God says, let my people go. No. Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague. Number 6. Egyptians moaned and cried in dread to see their skin turn purpley red. And nasty boils began to spread. Like this. See these like big marks on them? They hurt. But Pharaoh was an old hard head. When Moses spoke to mean Pharaoh, our God says, let my people go. And Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague. Number 7. I think God continued the campaign with hail and thunder, mighty rain. There'd never been a worse event. It looked like Pharaoh might relent. When Moses spoke to mean Pharaoh, our God says, let my people go. Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. Number 8. Plague, a plague, a plague. Now God sent down a new command, and Moses, with his outstretched hand, sent hungry locusts throughout the land. Said Pharaoh, this I cannot stand. Leave Egypt now, as you have planned. But when the people packed to go, Pharaoh shouted, no, no, no. Are we on 9? A plague, a plague, a plague. Then Egypt had 3 days of night, while Israelites enjoyed God's light. This was such an interesting one because the Hebrew people lived in a section of Egypt called Goshen. And so all of where the Egyptians' houses were was pitch black, like the middle of night. But then where the Hebrews lived, there was light right in that one spot. Isn't that crazy? Then Egypt had 3 days of night, while Israelites enjoyed God's light. So Pharaoh, tired of the fight, said, "Wives and children all can go. You cannot take your livestock, though." He really didn't mean it, so he soon was shouting, "No, no, no. A plague, a plague, a plague." All right, here's number 10. This is the worst.
Wait, but what happened to the hail?
Didn't we do hail?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, we did hell. Yeah, we did
It was
hell.
here. God, through Moses, said, "Beware, this plague is bad beyond compare. Death to every firstborn son, from royal born to poorest one. But sons of Israel I will spare. So listen now, you must prepare." And see here they're putting the blood on their doorposts. And as God struck his final blow, Pharaoh shouted, "Go, go, go." There they go. Off into the desert. Now, that was not the end of the story. There's a lot more to it, but this is my favorite book, so I was like, I have to read it.
This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
All right.
You sit on your sister's lap.
Yeah, it's okay.
We'll see what you remember.
I'm not good at remembering stuff.
No, 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 I don't want to play no thing. No.
What?